Dreams are a fictitious thing. You spend your whole life twisting and turning, trying to discover the meanings of different dreams and what they bring hold. Love, loss, promises of glory, promises of fear, anxiety. Different things you can hold in a dream. Different things you can hold in many dreams. But what of the dreams of ancestors? What of the dreams of those who are forgotten, but yet have seen so much in the world? What of those dreams? Nobody's quite sure. But one thing is certain, that the dreams of these always tie into each other step by gentle step. As we gaze upon the central image, gazing from above, Alistair, you look down. It's almost like you're floating. You watch the blood-red trees sprout out as life first begins. Creation, wild and chaotic, yet each of the stones pass a fading order, structure, purpose. And yet, each missing stone that you see in the picture here aligns itself to create that perfect spiralitic shape, representing the things that were and have come and gone before us. All was order and chaos. The triad, you would know it in your head. The very structure of life's being, Gaia's being. That is what you see. It is where it all began and ended and was brought around to full order once more. So eventually, Alistair, instead of this harmonious floating you feel, you find yourself walking along the stones. The bare roots of the red tree bleed along, touching each of the stones in almost a perfect harmonious balance. As you gaze around, you look left, you look right, as you hear whispers. So many whispers. Things they're not quite sure, but yet that tree is ever present and ever far away. So what does Alistair do as he's gazing at this tree that just seems to just stretch for miles and miles and miles ahead of you, and nothing but idle stones, bare grass, and the whispers of, you think, people that came before, or maybe they were here after you. You're not quite sure.
As he's walking through, the slight breeze, that no, the slight wind carrying the whispers towards him, just gently brushing past that wild hair of his. Each footstep very light, no heaviness here. There's no weight drawing back. There's nothing. It's just not freedom, but weightlessness. He takes those steps, every one more cautious than the last, but still always striving forward. That march towards that tree, but never seeming to get any closer, just revolving constantly. There's a deep breath as he takes it and still continuing forward. Not really understanding what exactly is going on. There's a tree. There's the whispers falling on his ears, and of course, with hearing like him, he hears it so inaudible. It's the only point to go on is tree. Maybe it's a tree. Maybe it's something else. Who knows what this is? But he's got to try at least, right? There's nothing going to stop him. And so he marches on, closer and closer, or trying to.
As you march on, you will notice as you look down, you feel the sickening crunch of sand turn to snow. As you walk and walk and walk, things seem to change right before your eyes. That's not roots, that's bodies. Faded into the snow, but yet making the same pattern as you sit right in the center of a spiral. This is no ordinary spiral. This is not like the spirals you saw. No, the lines that come in and out of it almost represent a wild, chaotic mass, surrounded by death. But as you look around, you see the deaths of everything and everyone. Agnes, to the Fianna, to Charlotte, to Patema to all these people consumed by chaos and death with no order left but the promise of eternal torment.
As he finally realizes the crunch, yeah, the distinctive changing sound, the sand he's walking on, looking down, almost instantly just gone to a cold grey. The faces from underneath just very lightly just shining from underneath, and he stares down at them. It's not until he sees now people that he recognizes. Some of them faces may have met before, but can't remember faces that maybe he's still yet to meet. But he looks down, he sees that Charlotte, Alice, sees them all, Patema. But then as soon as he sees Maria, Damon, all of them, and then Agnes, there's that kind of hit, the feeling of something, just almost like an arrow through the back as it just kind of crunches into him. The muscles in his chest tightening around his heart, rib cage is so much compressing as much as his breath is short. And looking around, almost spinning with the spiral that few times just to gauge everything. He sees them all more and more and more, stretching out and out with that sheer, just chaotic lines that they're in. He's right in the middle. He looks around and he almost gasping for breath. Eventually, the crunch on his chest finally lets go, and that's in that deep, guttural breath of the.
As you look around, you be greeted in the center by this man, Wodick, wild hair, wild beard, still those pale, terrifying blue eyes. Neil says something to you, and the language comes out more as this aggressive, like sound. You know what I mean?
And as he says something, McDuncan will just the eyes kind of fixating, not so much, but more focusing. He takes that step forward, his arms gestures out like, "What is this? What does it mean?"
Neil put his hand down the center of the spiral and looks up at you again, tilting the head, and he opens his mouth, and again, McDuncan, it sounds so wrong, so heretical to your ears, that weird, distorted sound. It's unnatural. As if life and death are fighting in the very center of its voice.
And what is it doing?
Touching the center of the spiral.
It kind of barks back at him, and he's almost instinctively just kind of grits his teeth at the sound of it. Now that rage still burning in him. That's unnatural. That's downright unnatural. And just the grit of his teeth, he looks at it, looks down, sees the connection from the ground to his hands. It's you. You're doing this, aren't you? All of this. Is that what this is?
He says in your voice, it's really eerie, but it sounds more like if you've ever heard ice clink into a glass, imagine that kind of trickling sound that comes with it. Oh no, lad. 'Tis not me that's doing it. Not me at all. This is all you, boy.
Yes. Kind of gestures around. No. Never.
In the end, you'll all be consumed by it anyway. Now, it's weird. It's like that cracking of ice, just like coming off the ends of his tone. Each tone of the letter, it adds to that.
Takes that kind of the step forward, almost just the rage, almost pushing him forward with it. Takes in that short breath of just puts it out. No, 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 no. This and all of this, no.
You have to
No.
fight. You have to fight it, don't you? He stands up
I have
because
fight it.
it's coming.
Fight it. That's what we all do. We all fight it. Every last one of us. And
Well,
I will make sure that I fight to my last goddamn breath.
you'll need more than just heroics, boy. And he points, and I mean he fades into the ice. The ice comes apart, like he comes apart, as if turning into the fading ice as he points. And what you will see is the first image is the tree. That's the first thing you see. Behind the tree are several three houses, all on a line. Blood red. The tree looks almost wilting, but yet the leaves remain strong, but they blow and caress. They almost call to you.
And he turns, looks back, seeing the figure's gone. Are the bodies gone, or are they still in spiral?
The spiral is gone, which is odd. But you notice as you look down, it's the spiral is on your palm.
So he looks around, looks around for the person, looks down, sees it's gone. The snow again, kind of covered up, almost completely untouched, and it feels that kind of itch on his palm as he lifts it up and opens it and sees that it's there, it's on his palm. And then there's just a slow turn towards the tree. Oh, fuck. And he'll start making those treasured steps through the snow towards it.
And you start walking up to the tree slowly again. You hear this weird whispering, like 1,000 whispers in one, almost seem to connect your mind. And before you hear the familiar footsteps as if thousands of people are making the same journey. What you will hear, Alistair, is the howl of a dread wolf echo throughout the plain, thunderous and terrifying. That probably shakes you to your very core, that howl. So
There's
powerful.
that second as it kind of almost cracks like thunder across the landscape, where he just drops down, not to his knees, but drops to one knee, not in a sense of respect, but in a sense of he's the kind of panicked, ready to move, ready just to get low, looks around and it kind of begins to echo around. The heart rate races up and like almost doubles in speed, and that just long breath just exhales, blowing out the condensation into the air. As he looks around, his eyes almost ecstatic as it finally fades out into something. The shake in his hand returns again, but he balls his fists just to keep them ready. Looks
And as
around.
you get closer and closer, to the tree, you hear the howl clash, and sounds of great battles echo around you, but you can't see anything, you can't feel anything, but you feel yourself as you look around, you see these ghostly wraiths engage in this internal war with each other. Vicious and brutal. You see Garou alike, you see, well, you think they're Garous, you can't tell, they're all shaped out of this icy wraithness. By the time you reach one of the first backs of the tree, the image shifts into these large ruins as you gaze above at them. They look haunting in a way, as if they were once a great, great thing. As if this was once a vast land that your people would have admired. You feel this sense of lost pride, you know?
The He looks up towards the ruins, and the pride is there. It's impressive, or would have been. It just kind of looks around. The haunting images in front of him. It's cold. It's not right. It's here, but it's not how it should be per se. And he just lets out again that long exhale. What is this? What is all of this?
As you gaze upwards, you see beside these ruins the mass, large, like right in the center of it, ice, so thick. But you see things frozen in the ice as well, stretching their hands out as if touching it with their claws, grew alike in their Krynos forms and Hispo forms, but they are frozen, almost as if the ice is now them, and was always them, will always be them.
And he'll take those steps forward. They're kind of squinting a bit to try and get a better look at the kind of very, very translucent images behind the eyes that he's going to reach out and just try and touch the side of it.
Roll me your willpower.
Alrighty. Based on difficulty.
Let me just double check there now. Ooh, interesting. Now, as you touch the runes aside, you do feel almost a spiritual connection to these things. As if they're your blood, but they never were your blood. They never will be your blood again. But they were always your blood, and they probably will forever be, in the future, your blood. Not just Fianna, no. Get a Fenris, Wendigo, Black Talon, and some other blood that you feel some sort of ancient kinship with that you just feel connected with. Perhaps not on a blood relation, no, but in your heart you feel it. As you look up, I'm going to put the song in here. You look up and up and up there, and this wall is vast. And what does Alistair do?
As he finally takes his hand away, that feeling as it is, just kind of, again, itching on the palm of his hand with that spiral, just kind of flexes his fingers before taking a few steps back and looking up at the wall. And it just almost continues as it goes up and up and up. And from where he's standing, it's almost as if it reaches the heavens itself. And he just takes those few steps back, not partially in awe, partially in sheer fear, because if he sees this in front of him, and this goes up, by God, it's fucking full of them. Thousands, millions.
That's probably the most horrifying bit of all that. Millions. From the very beginning.
He just takes those few steps back, and as it kind of clicks, dawns on him as he looks down, locking eyes with one of them. What is all this?
And that mighty howl echoes again as if calling everything to war. You feel it in your bones, in your blood. You know what I mean? But what you do see then, as you gaze upon the ruined tower, you see the entrance, and that's probably the thing you see just before you see the snow beginning to rumble as the ice begins to break. Piece by piece by piece. As these are not your allies, no, these are your enemies as they are coming to face the howl of war.
And there's that second of, it cracks, right? He looks, raises an eyebrow, sees the crack jumps upwards a few feet, up and up and up, and it just begins to spread, almost fanning out 1,000 times, a crack after crack after crack, and there's just that realization of this is something else. And he, just looking left, right, seeing that entrance to the ruins, he just bolts, almost tripping over in the snow with her being up to about mid-shin height, just uneven ground beneath his feet, just tripping and falling as he just runs, panicking as best he can,
Mm-hmm.
just running.
And you run in, darting in as the wall of snow and ice, as you hear this great battle rage outside, as you hear the howl, this screeching, terrifying howl. And this is not like before, no. I'll put in the side chat what this sounds like. Is you hear howls of Gru, but you also hear this coming to face the warriors in the ice.
And as that howl begins to ring out, almost reverberating off the ice, he just it hurts. It hurts more than he just slams his hands over the ears, just ah, screaming back
And
at it almost.
And when you hear that, you scream when you scream at it, it seems to intensify, get far worse and far more powerful, as if it's feeding off your fear and venom and glory for death.
He eventually, if it intensifies, he clamps on harder, scream that it hurt. It's unimaginable pain running through between his ears, just stinging more than anything. And he dropping to his knees and slumping against one of the walls, just screaming at the top of his lungs.
Out of which of the three do you identify the most with? The glory of death, the fury of combat, or the venom and sheer hatred of your enemy?
Fury.
Very important question for what's about to happen next.
All right. Hit me.
Which do you identify with, Mac Duncan?
Oh,
Venom, glory, or fury?
the Fury.
Okay. You hear the flapping of wings from behind you down the ice corridor. You hear another scream, beckoning you this time.
How does the scream sound like? Is it the harsh, high-pitched intensity of the other one, or is it?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
All right.
Oh yes.
So yeah, no,
Like I mean, you see bits of the ice wall around you begin to crack from its intensity.
they're beckoning to him.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck it. Yeah, no, that if it's as intense, he clamps onto his ears. Finally, just lungs ran out of breath as it just continues. He can't scream it to himself any longer. There's that on his hands and knees, just crawling forward before finally half picking himself up, making his way towards it.
And you hear the steps of feet, bare feet along the ice. You look up and the scream stops and you gaze upon this figure. In the snow and the ice, you see the tri-spiral right above her chest. Red, brilliant, bright red hair and crow's wings.
There's that second where he's still half hunched over, resting his weight on one leg, slowly looks up and sees this in front of him. And does she have that kind of aura she does in the picture, the kind of like the amber glow
Yeah.
as such, as compared to all this white ice?
What is terrifying as the scream is echoing, because this thing is still echoing, although your ears don't hurt anymore, that she opens her mouth and you hear a much more venomous scream, like to snarl. Once you start, she touches the side of your face and this weird print on your hand as you feel venom, fury, but not quite that raw, sheer terror, no. You feel this bitter hatred for everything that you saw, that spiral. And she says, and her eyes are black as well, which is more terrifying, and she's distinctly hawk-like in appearance, and she says in this weird voice, "Remember, the enemy always is within. Venom never leaves unless you choose it to."
He looks down at his palm. The breath still high rate, looking down. There's a mark still on his hand.
Do you wish it to be on your hand?
He sure as hell doesn't, but
What do you do?
he it doesn't really like there's that sense of it doesn't understand exactly. Doesn't. Wow, how could he understand this kind of thing? He's not born into the nation or anything like that, but he knows the fundamentals. He's a clear. He's made his way through it, and he just looks down at something he's disgusted with. That itching burn on his hand is he just the hatred of such thing. It just looks down on his hand to see if it's there.
A tri-spiral is there. Instead of an actual spiral, a tri-spiral.
As he looks down and sees that the change, the difference, there's that kind of shock hits the back of his head as he looks back upwards at the woman.
She is gone and replaced with, and I will show you, someone eerily similar looking. You'd swear they were sisters. But she is far more intimidating because when she opens her mouth, they all have black eyes. That fucking scream. Now you're almost kind of, you know what I mean? Almost blasted down onto your. You actually do. You fall onto your knees. It's that powerful. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
That howling, piercing, banshee scream.
There's that second where he looks down, the shock hits him. He looks back up to see does he understand, and then bam hits him. He falls backwards. The weight distribution forward couldn't compensate for such force on this as he just drops onto his backbone, kind of looking up there. Buried in the snow slightly, pulling himself up, scrambling as best he can upwards. Not raising to his feet, but kind of sitting on one leg. Looking up. And there's just that second of straight fear going through, because that's an intimidating figure. That's something else.
She plants the spear down as you hear the screeching of ravens echo around. You know what I mean? This, you know what I mean? And she says, and her voice, like cold steel and pure fanatical fury, as if she's about to literally leap down and tear you limb from limb. But remember, fury is all you'll have left in the end when you face it. Fury! You know what I mean? She lunges but vanishes in this gust of black feathers, and that scream is all you hear in the back of your head, like almost making your ears bleed.
And again, as she jumped, that lunge forward is just before she's about to. There's that flinch. He wasn't expecting anything like that. It was compared, in contrast with the scream echoing through the back of his skull, one side hitting from all sides. There's straight flinches, covering his eyes. Just lifts up and says, "Poof!" And the next second, she's gone. And he scrambles to his feet.
Did you scramble to your feet? Now, I'm going to get this properly. You will feel, instead of fear and venom and hatred, you'll feel something touch the back of your shoulders. Like cold steel. And you hear the squawking of ravens, the thumping. The thumping of a war drum. Doom. Doom. Do you know what I mean? And she says in a cold voice from behind you, with her hands like a mother onto your shoulders. And she says in her voice, it's cold. Cold as death itself. Or will you take glory and bring the heads of your enemies to your feet and bask in death, fury, or venom will only get you so far. You must have the will to feel and to hate. You must have the will to wish for the death to arrive. And those war drums, they fucking intensify, man. You've never felt more amped in your entire life. Doom, 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 doom. You know what I mean?
And again, that rather than the straight intimidating anything else, though, the burning of the other. This is just it's the burning inside, not the burning of pain, but this is the rage. This is the fury coming out from him, and he will actually whirl round and look at who stood behind him.
And she's flanked much like this kind of weird orb in her hands. The crow lands on her, and again, similar, but her hair is darker, wilder. She opens her eyes, and they're black. And her scream is one of war. Death. Like an Arun, but far more powerful. This is something that, while it may not grant, yes, the appearance, it commands respect because it is death and glory and it will get you no matter what happens. You just choose which side you fall on.
And as that second, as he whirls around, it hits him again. And he just makes a face much like his picture, just boom. Almost awestrucken by such a figure, by such aura of respect. Not even the fact of demanding, just the aura. She hasn't even spoken a word since he made eye contact with her. And that command, that sheer everything. Almost like a wave washes over him.
No fear. That is your road, Alistair MacDuncan. You may choose your path. And she looks up in those eyes, man. Like all of them, they are pit black. This one commands respect. Cold respect. You may choose the path. Glory, fury, or venom. Now walk. And do not show fear. Until you can pick your path. And she touches your face with those iron steel claw-like fingernails.
And as she does, is that instinct reaction of almost like, again, that motherly touch to a son, where as she touches his face, his back just kind of bulks straight. Command. She has given him that command, and he bolsters up, chest out forward, and just draws in that breath. Doesn't say a single word, just bows his head.
And as you begin to go down the tunnel, you come out to this throne room. An empty throne that was once something great lays before you, and you hear the mad cackle. And you look to your left, and you see these two figures. The one with the far more demonic phase is pouring down an osprey and a harrier into a boiling gleam eye and cackling madly. As Alistair, as much as you don't, part of you is like, yes, no, there is this unnerved part of you as you are looking into the eye of madness itself. And its cackle is oddly oh so tempting. The other figure is sheer void as it begins to slowly smother a great eagle, slowly adding layer upon layer of the abyss, carefully and oh so delicately. How do you react to these two figures, or do you react at all?
He stands there. There's that moment again, not the proud, you know, commanding posture. There's that ready. They're ready to move, ready to dodge, ready to fight, ready for anything. On the tips of his toes, crouched down a little bit, but he looks and he sees. It's that second of he sees what he sees, and then it hits him what he's actually seeing. There's that moment of dear fucking Christ, as the fear begins to well up in his stomach, but he does not show it. Oh, he wouldn't show it. He's under command not to show it. And if I need to roll for that,
Let's see how well you perform. Give me a willpower roll. This will be difficulty 8.
difficulty 8. Nope.
It's not a botch, so we're not in the worst case scenario, but you do try. But again, what's eerie for you and probably what causes you the most fear is how tempting that cackle of madness really is. That's what gets under your skin.
And as he both tries to bring that resolve out of the sheer force of will, it just gets to him. That cackle cuts through it like a knife through butter. As he's just about to, focus, become that bulwark, it just cuts straight through and gets to him. And he feels it, the straight fear, the shake returns, the nervousness, the anxiety of what's going on, the echoing around him as it reverberates off the room, the stone, everything just coming from all sides. He looks up and just sees that contorted amalgamation of and just stares.
And then you hear this odd sound of ice and fire melting together from behind you, and you turn and look and you watch this creature rise out of this decaying dragon that has unleashed its breath. Fire burns within and the ice seals around it. Step by careful step as it rises up and up and up till it forms a human shape. As the fire burns within a bright, bright flame. Then it finally becomes whole and extends its hands, much like this, and gazes right into your eyes, and those eyes, Alistair, cold blue, like ice but on fire. And it says, in this weird, demonic sounding voice. At first it's more like a screech, but then that weird audible like but then it sounds like scraping ice, like the breaking of it. And then tilts his head as you reel back, like holding your head above your ears and probably cursing. It says, they all return home. Alistair. They all return home. Death and life. They all return home. Rejoice.
And as he stares, does this give the same feeling that it did before? That unnatural.
This is for you so incomprehensible to your mind. You again, it just can't exist.
And then there's that.
It's so many levels of wrong in your head because life and death, that's impossible. You know what I mean?
There's that second of where if it stops as the thing makes the gesture almost mockingly towards him. There's that tremor in his breath. He's shaking his head. This is no home. This is no home. This is nothing.
Yeah. Life and death. Isn't it beautiful?
No.
purpose, without control. And I mean, it makes a weird, like, sounding as if it's in constant conflict with itself. But yet it then formulates into one, like an amoeba.
No. No. This is hell.
And what you see before you awaken. Let me just get this image. And this is probably the most sheer horrifying bit. As you say, this is hell. Let me just find it now. Come on, mannequin, behave for me. It's not loading. You see stepping out of the ice, stepping out of the very things yourself. Because the image is not loading, but I'm just going to describe it to you. Agnes, Maria, Damon, everyone you've loved, trapped in a state of cold and undying. Because the Harbinger has come. Now you will all rejoice, for death is not the end. And boom! You awaken. Like, bam! You know what I mean? It's almost like it's about to extend its hands, reaching slowly for your face. Kaboom! You know what I mean? Like a thunder blast.
As he reaches forward towards McDuncan, there's that screaming as he sees Agnes, just the top of his lungs screaming, no, this is hell, screaming. As it finally hits, kaboom, awakens, he lurches up in his bed, screaming, still finished off, this, no, screaming at the top of like, as it echoes through the public housing.
Yeah, and fucking Agnes is like, Alistair, it's all right. It's all right, Alistair. You're all right. You're all right.
Where are we? Where is it?
We're in the public housing. Look, see? Look. Damon's here and everything. And you see Damon next, against, like, he's at the foot of your bed.
It's all right. It's all right.
Yeah, see? Everything's okay. Everything's okay. It's just a bad dream. That's all. You're all right.
I know. Oh no. It's more than just a dream. Oh, fuck.
All right, I'm going to get you some tea. Okay? Okay?
All right. All right.
She gives you a reassuring pat on the arm, you know what I mean? Very, again, you feel the soft, warm touch, and she'll run out, and Damon will look, glance at you. Your wife said that you were in trouble.
The dreams. I thought they'd stopped.
I see.
That's the worst one yet.
We all have dreams, Alistair.
I lied. But that was something else.
You were speaking in it. You were speaking a language that I had. Wouldn't thought that I would hear. You said you weren't born in the nation, so I'm surprised.
Awesome.
Thankfully, nobody's around that much. But I did not know you knew Ogham.
Ogham.
It's an old tongue. One of our old tongues. They know mainly the monoliths, the stones.
Stones. Aye. Oh, makes sense.
Mm.
Ah, Damon.
How did how, how do you know it?
I, I don't. I don't know it. Sometimes there's bits and pieces that I just seem to recognize.
As if you're touching into a vast network of memories.
As if I just understand by seeing it, although I've never seen it before, but I know that I've seen it before. The feeling that
He'll,
it's not
he'll,
alien.
he'll, he'll sit down on the bed. That, if I am right, Alistair, is a connection to those who came before you. The members of the Guru. Mifiana are an old tribe, and we have connection to the people who are gone. Perhaps that is what you share with them, a connection to their memories.
Aye. That's that makes sense. It makes a lot of
Dead,
sense.
the dead do often grant us insight.
And he just nods.
They said you went into the realm of madness.
Aye. That I did.
Hmm. Perhaps that is what makes you dream so vividly.
I should have expected it. Treading foot in that mess. When it's come back. And a few days it was fine. But I know it'd catch up with me. I should have known. But that Damon, that was more than just a dream. That was something else.
You saw where the worm manifests itself in its purest form. I imagine that will do things to the mind.
The horrors, Damon. They can prepare you for all sorts of things, but they cannot prepare you for that. Nobody can.
Nods. Then you have to be stronger because of it.
Why? Why? It's like anything.
It's not like anything this time, Alistair. You have to be stronger.
Strength doesn't come straight away, though.
No,
It needs to develop afterwards, like a muscle. That's same, just up here. He just taps the side of his head.
he'll smirk.
Am I wrong?
No,
But
no. But when the call comes, you have to show no fear.
I'll make sure I'm ready for it.
Nod.
I'll make sure I'm ready. Anyway, what are you doing in big bed?
Your wife called.
Oh,
She was alarmed. She was alarmed. Said you were screaming in your sleep. I said I would handle it.
hey, she's a good one, ain't she?
She's a very nice lady. You stand up, dusts off his hoodie.
Suppose I should be thanking you then, Damon.
No need to thank me.
No need, but I will anyway.
Well, your thanks is welcome. If you figure out your dreams, the urges are usually the best people to talk to.
Don't worry, I'm sure I'll have you on fucking speed dial by the end of this.
There has been some trouble.
Oh?
There was a fight.
A fight? I heard
An argument developed between the Trimbinsons. Some of the Oryxons tried to intervene, and my sister is my sister.
Oh, Jesus. How bad?
Well, considering Marcel Oryxon knocked her about 50 feet into the air. Mark Thorns said some very venomous things. But she was defending her packmate.
I can't now. And how is she? Is she doing alright?
She'll be fine. More furious, if anything, but the True Catcher and others are. I imagine there will be typical Philodoxes usually.
Aye. And they will. It's a heated argument. What over, if anything?
Something to do with Silverfangs.
I'll call me surprised.
Trimbinsons are not known for their love of Silverfangs.
Aye. But the hate isn't well sung about either.
Shrugs. I've known some pretty honorable Silverfangs.
That's what I mean. I didn't know the Trimbinsons had a beef with the Silverfangs.
It's been like that for generations. Apparently, I don't know. Just shrugs.
See what?
I get Fenris are contentious people.
Like get a Fenris or get a Fenris.
Some are not, and some are. Some believe that they should take the reins themselves, while others believe they should help. My father rode to war with the Get and the Silverfangs. It all depends on where you come from and what you believe.
Aye. Aye, fair enough. Oh, fuck. Oh, Jesus.
You should get up and eat. That's usually the best thing to do after one of those episodes. He's starting to walk towards the door.
Aye. Sounds like a good idea. As he will just pull the blankets off himself and spin around on the bed so his feet plonk onto the floor. There's a few seconds as he takes the deep breath before hoisting himself up.
You can hear Agnes cooking away inside. Obviously putting on breakfast and all that.
He yeah, throws on some baggy clothes, some scruffy kind of thing. It doesn't matter what it is. And he comes out, for all intents and purposes, looking like complete shit. There's a smirk on his face as he sees Agnes cooking. He'll just go, wander over, put a hand on her shoulder, leaning over.
She'll look over. You feeling better?
Well, I ain't feeling worse, if that's what you mean.
Well, you sit down there now, and I've got bacon. I've got more bacon, and I've got bacon.
You know what? I'll take it with extra bacon.
She sage nods, like, okay.
And he no walks, no slides over more to it and falls down into the chair effectively. Wipes
She
over
does.
his face.
She does the. I go on. You're staying, Damon. Damon does not contend. Essentially, do you know what I mean? He's like, no, I'm staying. I've lost this battle already. Do you know what I mean?
This is an offer I literally cannot refuse.
Pretty much how it is. So he just sits down. To be fair to her now, she did cook a shit ton of bacon. There's some eggs there as well. There's some fucking black pudding, and there's some sausage. You know, it's a full Irish breakfast essentially. There's coffee as well.
There's the look of when a man has seen his saint as she delivers bacon in front of him, and he just looks up and there's just that awestruck gaze. That few seconds he smiles. Ah, oh, thank you, love.
Well, no problem. Now I'm going to hang some clothes out in the line. Be back in a minute, so better eat it all.
Don't worry, there'll be nothing left.
Points at both of you and just seems to walk out, picking up the big hefty fucking, straight out of the washing machine type shit.
Yep, and he looks at Damon. There's that look down. You best eat it all now, Damon.
Yes, I am quickly realizing that.
Oh, nice, yeah. Come on now.
Sage nods like, "Oh yeah, nope. I grew up around Fianna women." As he's eating,
I know you did, but look at you, scrawny little fuck. Get some of this down as he just kind of dumps more bacon onto his belly.
Damon's just staring at him like, keeps eating.
And in true Garrow fashion, McDuncan will inhale the food.
Yeah, it's good food.
Gone. Oh, of course. Nothing like a good bit of your wife's own cooking there.
Even if it was shite, I'd still say it good because she killed me.
Yeah, you never say no. It's always.
Yeah, Damon will just look over. So, what are your plans today?
Plans today. Oh, fucking. Oh, there's the usual shite. But, yeah. Best do me rounds as usual. Hold on. Sorry about that. And he'll, after downing half his tea, coffee, whatever he's got, look over. I'm not too sure. My usual shite that I've got to do, but on that, I need to get. I don't know. To be honest, lad.
Well, what are your intrigues are apart from what doing Guardian? in patrol.
Intrigues. Oh, well, speaking of intrigue, uh, there's one I don't. Somebody I've not heard of, but you might have. A Torvi. Torvi kind of gestures, points at him with the fork. Sigurdsson.
It was a shake of the head. I know a Torvi, but it's not. No, Torvi Sigurdsson. I've never heard of it. Never heard of it. And I know there's Torvi Carlo, but she's long gone from here. She's my packmate's sister.
Oh, is she?
Ragnar, yes.
Oh. Oh, he's a Carlo, isn't he? I totally fucking forgot. Torvi Carlo.
They speak very odd. They're connected to the Theurges mostly, so particularly the trees.
Say.
So they speak. So they speak like this. It actually will do like pretty decent imitation of them.
I don't know. I've never known Ragnar to speak like that.
He is something of a maybe it's perhaps his auspice why he is a ragabash.
Maybe. But say, where is Ragnar from?
The Cairn of Wolfsmaw.
That's the north, ain't it?
On the border.
Just kind of scratches his beard.
Very tough people.
Thinking.
Maria Trimbenson is their alpha.
I've heard. I've heard bits and pieces.
They are brutal people. You say, nodding.
That I have heard many a time.
Considering they are pushing, and considering they have many clans up there, it is all Get of Fenris. And considering the latest, from what I'm hearing, they managed to kick out the representative of the court or something, some big silver fang. Better talking to a Galliard, I would say. That's what my sister was telling me.
Well, perhaps I best go ask her, because that sounds interesting.
Well, they're big about hospitality. Big about it. If you break hospitality in their cairn, they're welcome to do whatever they can to you.
Well, I don't plan on doing that.
But there are allies, and they've come to aid us, and we have aided them. Just shrugs. Like that?
Hey, no, just, you see, the thing is that I was told, it's half mind, half wondering, half listen. Yeah, you get the idea. Torvi Sigurdsson. Alright. Now, fair enough. It's Torvi. It's not a common name. I don't think it's a common name. I haven't heard many Torvis.
Well, for you grew up in Scotland. He's smirk.
It's look. There's a lot of funny names, right? But Torvi's not a funny one that I've heard. Don't be giving them eyes.
You just shrug.
There's nothing wrong with growing up in Scotland, is there?
No, but
no.
How many Get of Fenris do you know before you came here?
Ooh, I knew about 2.
There you go.
I'm just saying. Anyway, all right. But Ragnar's sister, and Ragnar's from the north. Is she in the north?
He is.
Huh. Now, it's probably a lot. It doesn't make any sense. Kind of rubs his beard again. Sigurdsson. I've not. You know what's funny, Damon? It's really funny. So, you got your people. You got your Trimbinsons. You got your Ulrichsons. You got your Carlos. You got your. You know what I'm saying? You got all of these people.
There's a lot of there's a lot of get families.
Aye. I've never heard of a Sigurdsson before. Not until
Neither he'll look over. Neither have I.
there isn't any around here. I'd like you said, I think
He shakes his head.
like unless you're right. I haven't heard the name. I just seemed, like I said, I heard it from there, from the place. But details.
Okay. Well, I've never heard of a Sigurdsson. I'm not the person to talk to, Alistair. I mean, I
No,
studied history, yes.
but if I want to know that, I go to a Get Galliard, of course. But I'm just saying, it's not just me. Right? There is.
I've never heard of it. Since I have been here, there has been the two big families, which is the Ulrichsons and the Trimsons.
Sigurdsson.
You could also talk to Maria's Packmaid Leaf. He's an avid historian. Like he
Is
has
he there?
old books.
Oh. Is he the one that's always reading?
Nods. The quiet guy.
Oh, that's him. You see, I never put two and two together.
He's a pretty good fellow, Docs.
I don't doubt it for a second there. It just kind of, he kind of flicks his fingers. Dawned on me, all these clans, and then I hear a name. I'm supposed to find somebody with a name. It doesn't exist.
And what must have existed?
What? I mean, it must have also be told the name.
What happened to them?
I don't know. That part was left out. I don't know.
I'll tell you what. Get me more information onto the status of that family. If they're dead, I can perhaps help you, but I will need to know more.
Aye. Well, I best go speak with Leaf then.
They're over by their cabin.
I don't doubt it. I can't be just rocking up there like this. Would that be rude? I feel like that'd be very rude. Depends on territory.
Right now, they're probably very territorial.
I imagine right now they probably are. But no, it used to be back in my old sept. As one pack is extremely territorial. No. Extremely. Like they had a line of rocks. Pebbles. And through the grass. Couldn't step over it. Nope. Couldn't step over that without permission. You did, you'd lose the foot.
And I've seen one pack here, they put the heads of their enemies to mark off where exactly their territory is.
What do they now? Oh, yes, of course they do.
No.
Just the realizing, oh, yes, I think I know what you mean. Oh, like, do they? Oh, yeah.
Like, huh?
Yeah, they do.
Huh. Yeah, indeed.
Yes.
But yes, he'll just nod. Anyway, to be fair, he eats about 3/4 of it. I have to go. The keeper is going. Well, you know how it is.
I imagine, but just kind of looks down at his plate, looks at him, looks at his plate, looks at him.
He'll just hand over the plate.
Well, now gonna have to fatten you up, boy.
I'll thank your wife. Don't worry. He's going to put his hands in his pockets as he's walking outside.
Just a big grin on his face. Thank you kindly. As he just shovels it in. And then he'll stand up, get changed into something that's not rags, the comfy clothes.
You will see Agnes come back in, doing the washing. She washes up.
And he'll, as she's washing up, go up behind and put his hands on her hips and just put rest his beard on her head because he's that much taller than her. Just bump.
Yeah.
I'm going to be heading out. I've got a few people I need to talk to.
I'm glad you're friends with those Lynches. They're nice people.
Aye. Oh, lovely lad. And his sister, oh, okay, now she's a laugh. Great at parties.
He's a bit odd, but he's a good fella. Nice
Aye.
guy.
There's nothing wrong with being a bit of an oddball.
He's just... I feel bad for him. Just gives a smile.
Oh,
But his first change was rough, from what I'm hearing.
I don't know. I don't know about it, to be honest.
But she leans in and does that kind of Fiona gossip. You know, you've seen the lead.
The gossip, well, how about I tell you some shit here, boy?
That's pretty much... He was about to be married, and he first changed.
Oh, shit. About to be
And
married.
she proposed to her and everything, and she was another, and she's a guru too.
Oh, fucking hell. Poor lad. I bet that still has a weight on it.
I'd say it does. That's why whenever he, says hello, I always make sure he's, do you know what I mean?
Oh, no, of course. You've got to do these things.
Doing your part, like, you got to take care of him.
It'd be rude not to.
Exactly, and we all have to look out for each other as well.
Aye, exactly. I'll keep my eye out for him. He's a good lad, Damon. He's a good lad. Bit scrawny, but he's all right.
Nods. By the way,
Hmm?
your friend Steve gave a ring, but you were snoring your big fucking head off.
Oh, was I now?
Mm-hmm. I
And
didn't want
what
to
did
wake
he?
you because he was just asking for you, asking how you were doing.
All right then. Oh, I best go see
He was
Steve as
checking
well
up
then.
on. Well, you got to find him first.
Aye, well, I'm sure Steve will find me first.
You know how he is.
I know how he is.
But he was checking up on you, making sure you didn't lose your head, as he was
Aye.
saying.
Oh, he's a good lad, Stevie. Oh, good lad.
Nods.
He looks out for us, you know.
I bet he does.
He does.
I've heard his wife is lovely.
I haven't met his wife yet.
Well, I've heard she's a bit of a bitch. She puts the fucking, the plates in the fucking dryer area.
Then how is she lovely but a bit of a bitch? It doesn't
Because
work.
she's a black fury. Because she's black. Puts her hands on her hips and does the expression. Because she's a black fury. You can't. They go hand in hand. They're bitches, but they're lovely bitches.
You know what? Considering my experience with Furies, I'll take your word for it.
Oh, trust me, they'll start fucking taking off their pants and throwing them at you eventually. That's what my uncle says.
You know what? I'm not going to argue.
He hasn't seen a Fury since. Well, he's retired. You know.
What? Of course he's retired. Look, he might have been retired, but he's still got all that experience. Hey,
Exactly.
still counts for something.
Sage nods.
Exactly. See? Look at that. Right, anyway, other than getting Fury's pants thrown at my face, I'm going to go out. I got to go see...
All right.
I got to go see a get about a book.
Points. No fighting.
Do you mean no fighting?
No fighting. There has been enough fights here, Alistair. No fighting.
I didn't plan on fighting.
Oh, good. Points the spoon at him.
But there's that, like, about to talk back and sees like, oh.
You be on your best behavior now, young man?
I'm always on my best behavior.
Oh, well, points the spoon again. Good. I'll be watching.
How you be watching?
Turns over. Because I know. And I know when you're up to mischief. It's called a woman's intuition.
And nothing terrifies me more.
Just sage nod. Like she shows her back to her and she just see the nod of approval.
As he grabs his coat, it's like, there's nothing that terrifies me more. Walks out the door.
Runs down the lane.
What?
Please.
Leave.
But you walk down the lane. When you eventually see sitting outside the Raven's cabin is the solitary figure of Leif Ulrichsen. Doing what he always does.
Doing what
Reading.
he always does. Reading. And he'll, make his way over. Not stepping onto the porch, but more just kind of standing at the bottom of it. Looks over to where Leif is. So he's gone up now. I guess he doesn't look up at all.
No, he's just reading away. Seems engrossed in the book he's reading.
And is there like an overhead, like a cover on this this porch? Yeah, so there's obviously stilts upwards, so you just kind of like knock on one of the stilts.
Do look up, from the book.
Bows his head. Sorry to disturb you, Aya.
You're the Galliard Maria was telling me about.
Alistair McDuncan.
Nod. It's just a nod, like, Kind of just gestures with the hand, like, come on.
Oh, to sit down or what?
No, do the rank. The fucking the spiel.
All right. So he nods his head. Alistair McDuncan, Fianna Cleath Galliard, born on 2 legs, known to the nation as Height of Fury.
Just a nod. Leif Ulrichsen, known to the nation as 1,000 Scars, born on 2 legs, under the half moon, child of Fenrir. Got to keep the formalities.
Of course, Raya. I was hoping, if it's not too much trouble, a few questions I'd like to ask you.
Well, what does a Galliard wish to ask me? He kind of adjusts himself in the seat, puts the book on the table, it closes it. So he's obviously, engaging.
So, I've heard word that you're quite the avid historian.
I take pride in researching our people and various things of the nation. In order to be an effective file doc, you must know the past as well as the present.
Very respectful.
I'm sure as a Galliard you can admire that.
Aye, that I do, Raya. Very respectable. So gives him the sage nod, like, yeah.
Nods.
It's like, yeah, that's I respect that. So, with that in mind, I've got a slight predicament.
And what predicament is that?
I'm looking for one Torvi Sigurdsson.
Sigurdsson?
Aye, that is just one thing that has dawned on me recently, is that as many as there are Ulrichsons, Trimbinsons, Carlos, and all that, it's a name I've not actually heard since I've been here.
It's an old name. It's a very old name. One that I've not heard in a long time.
Huh. And what happened?
May I ask why you're pursuing into a Sigurdsson?
Hey, of course, I made a promise that I would find some fallen members of a pack. Help them finally put them to rest.
They were Sigurdssons.
Not exactly. From what I know, one Torvi Sigurdsson has the information I need to find these fallen members. Or perhaps knows something that's put me on the right track. She's the first stepping stone, you see, Raya.
Nods, like, no, he's like, okay, I dig it. And who is this who's... Kind of, like leans forward with genuine curiosity, like you've piqued his attention. You know what I mean?
And what's the ask? Sorry.
And who is this that's seeking?
That's where it gets a little complicated, right? From what I understand, it is an echo of some sort, a spirit, something like that.
An ancestor spirit.
That sounds about right.
Just nods.
Just kind of nodding, like,
defenders.
just kind of nodding, like, you know what, that might make sense, of sorts. You see, if you've heard of late, a few of us made a small journey outward.
I've heard of the trip that you took, yes.
And where we ended up.
Unfortunately, yes, I've heard.
Aye. That's it's an experience. Let's leave it at that. But in there's a few things that were uncharacteristic.
I imagine so. He's giving like a nod, like, yeah, no, I imagine, Jesus.
Uncharacteristic of what you'd expect to be in there, Raya.
I see. And what have you seen that is related to my people?
And he looks around. Is there a space next to him?
Mm-hmm.
He sits down. Well, actually, looks to speak gesture. It's like, may I take a seat?
He'll hold up his hand, stand up, and kind of just gesture to follow inside.
Yeah, he nods. And we'll follow him inside.
It's a nice house. It's not like lavish like a Silver Fang. No, it's looks lived in. You know what I mean? Got the very Fianna vibe about it in some parts. You can, I imagine, you can attest why. But you will walk into what looks to be a big library, essentially, like books and all that. And you'll close the doors.
What we saw in there, Raya, was a few things. But what we saw a lot of was seemingly an echo, a glimpse of somebody that had been there before. And it was what let us out, how we got out of there. If not for that echo, we would have been still stuck there now.
There's an ancestor spirit trapped in Malpheus. That is disturbing.
I want to jump to that, Raya. From what I know, the name is a certain taboo around here, considering of late. I don't know. I wasn't here. It was an echo of one named Potema.
Probably the zoom in is perfect. You know what I mean? Because actually, as he's sitting down on the table, like he has this turned expression. It's pretty much what he gives you.
Just the what? Like exclamation mark from Metal Gear Solid goes above his head, just like bring.
I see. And your he gives you the kind of I mean, Leaf has like a very proper get intimidating stare. You know what I mean? That proper Philo stare. Like you feel like you're being fucking X-rayed.
Yeah, hey.
I think you better explain properly, Alistair. So I'm not, I kind of gesture, so I'm not reacting to the information you're giving me.
I just wanted to make sure that shock value was out the way first. So, let's go from the beginning. We got down there. I will be paraphrasing this, right? If you don't mind, there's a lot of details you don't need to be. There's a lot of me screaming and me singing.
That is... I just nods like, but thank you.
So, mind all the screaming, singing, pissing oneself, and going insane, completely insane. There was an echo that we followed, seemingly of a pack that went down there in search of something I'm not entirely certain on. I have an idea, but not entirely sure. It's an echo of Potema Sigurdsson, from what I believe. And at first, we believed it just being a vision, a path of what was once walked, something like that. But then she turned to us and acknowledged us. Like that we had been there following her on this journey, as she'd followed us on this journey. It was strange. As much as that, as you can imagine, that realm stunk of the worm, everything that is wrong with this world, that part didn't seem lost or, tainted or anything like that. It was almost somebody stuck in limbo. And as such, at one point, she was reaching out for what I could only believe was a lover of sorts, as he was being tortured or something like that. And I shouted to her that she should come with us. We can drag her out. You know what, Raya? She fucking did. It was strange. But there was one thing. Again, paraphrasing. I made a promise that I'd find her fallen comrades. This is before that she, what I'm understanding, danced with the spiral. Her comrades fell before it, and they never got put to rest.
I see. Now, I'm going to raise a point, and I say this out of concern, and because this is my duty.
Of course, right?
And was a very heretical figure, particularly among my tribe, for what she was. How do you know that this was not a temptation of the worm?
See, that's what I thought at first. That's why I ignored it. I ignored all of her attempts to speak and, taunt us or anything like that. But a part of me, when I saw a woman, I didn't see a Garrow or anything. I saw a woman reaching out for her lover. That was true. As much as the worm can tempt and all that, that is not temptation, Raya. That is something else. And that is something that the worm cannot understand.
Well, I pray you're correct. Now, the next question is, what was her pack or comrades or kin destroyed by?
That I'm not entirely sure. Unfortunately, as the echoes went on, I only caught bits and pieces. Between the screaming and going partially insane, as much as one can, while faced with true horrors of something like that, and I'm still having nightmares about to this day. It's hard to pay attention.
The Sigurdssons. You'll go to like into the library and start walking along.
Aye.
Pulls out a book and flicks through it. Now, most of Guru history is passed down by word of tongue for obvious reasons. The Sigurdssons, from what I can remember and some of the notes I have taken, they're an old family. Old. Originally from the sept of Fafnir's brood. Also, where Clan Trimbenson has one of its original foundation points. Clan Trimbenson, you see, their main sept is Pride's Fall. But that is in America. They came from various old world septs, where I'm from, Blood's Fist, or Fafnir's Brood. In the Balkans. Now, there have been many. They looked like a line that had died out. Similar to the Horksons, but the Horksons have had a recent resurgence of Gru in their line. That is what the stories say, to my knowledge, but they were an old clan. Very driven. Predominantly Aroons and Galliards. known for their red hair, fiery red hair, or fiery blonde hair. Distinctive features, you see.
Hmm. And the Sigurdssons.
That's what they're known to look like, typically. Runes and Galliards, red hair, fiery red hair, or bright blonde hair.
Hmm.
The last recorded Sigurdsson that I know of through would be Ragnar Sigurdsson, but he was killed in Fafnir's Brood a long time ago. And let me scroll through a page. Scrolls again. Scrolls Ube Sigurdsson. And he was hundreds of years old.
Hmm.
Get Philodox. Ragnar was a Getarune.
Hmm.
They both died in service in fighting the worm.
Aye. But in there, she named herself. She introduced
Temma
herself.
Sigurdsson.
Aye. She was a Sigurdsson.
I imagine most of her history has been kept in the dark since her fall.
I imagine that too. And she named a still living member, Torvi Sigurdsson.
Torvi Sigurdsson. Did she name it as Gru or Kin or?
She didn't say. She said,
Not.
from what I remember, she said, find her fallen ancestors. Not ancestors, sorry. Her fallen pack, comrades, whatever. I made a promise to do that. And the key to finding that would be in the north with Torvi Sigurdsson.
The North.
Aye.
That's when his head like distinctively turns like, wait, what?
Aye.
The North. That is a troubled place.
But I made a promise, Leaf. And I intend to fulfill it.
The North contains a contingent of Geth that are ferocious in their fanaticism. Also, the mother of my Alpha.
Oh.
Maria Blood Siren Trimbedsson, Alpha of the Cairn of Wolvesmaw. My Alpha is Lily Trimbedsson.
I thought I did hear Raya.
She's a good woman.
I don't doubt it for a second, Raya. But that is where this echo.
How far north are you talking?
That I don't know. That is why I need to find this Torvi.
Torvi Sigurdsson. I don't know of any Torvi Sigurdsson in Wolvesmaw. I know of Torvi Carlo. But she is not in Wolvesmaw anymore. She is down south.
Down south?
She is with my cousin, Runfer, and his company.
Were there any Sigurdssons in the north at all, Raya?
I think. Not that I know of. You see, I was from Bloodfist before I came here. It flicks a couple of pages, but they could have been. Although I'm not seeing anything. A good person to probably ask, perhaps, is either a Galliard or... I think. I'm not letting my Alpha read in on this conversation. She is, we'll say, in a delicate mood.
I did hear about that too, Raya.
I imagine the whole sept is heard by now.
It's just a nod of that. Yeah, probably.
But I would not know. I would know that the European Sigurdssons, they died out a while ago.
Potentially some of the family line got across to America.
It seems likely. If Patemo was from a Sigerson line,
Hmm.
the person you could ask, perhaps, is either Galliard. Tailsinger might know, but then again, he is a Fianna. You could ask the Den Mother. She is Lena Trimbenson. And she is from Fafnir's Brood originally. You could go all the way up and ask Maria Trimbenson too, but it kind of sucks in the breath. Distinctive.
Leaf, Raya. Where is the Alpha from?
The Alpha, he is from
Hmm.
Chicago. Originally from, hold up a hand, Sept of the Blood Fist.
Hmm.
And he is a Get Elder. I think if anyone would know, he would know at least something.
The Get Elder that I also believe, if correct me if I'm wrong, is a Galliard.
Clicks his fingers.
There's a hint of a smile on McDuncan's face.
Then he clicks his fingers at you like, bingo.
Yep. I think that's probably going to be my best option, right?
Just make sure you're respectful.
Well, I'm sure finding some form of something to give him will at least help with my face if I make a misstep.
He does enjoy talking to the young one, so as long as you, I think, are endearing. You're the Galliard. I'm sure we'll figure it out.
Tell you one thing, Raya, if I'm nothing but endearing.
Just nods.
There's just that goofy, like, yeah, got a smile on his face.
And yes, I'm assuming you head out.
But first of all, he will, of course, give a respectful nod to Leaf. Well, Leaf, Raya, thank you for your time. You've been most helpful in this such a thing.
Just nods. Like, yeah, no problem, bro.
Thank you very much. And of course, I may return, and if you would, of course, like to know a few things, if it may help your kind of gestures to the books study.
Take it as a personal intrigue. The Sigurdssons are a line that fell off, vanished. This happens among Garou, but if we can figure out why and if there are any still alive. Spread his hands.
And I'm sure I could tell you a tale, Raya. And then he'll head off.
You head to the crags, because that's where the Alpha chills, essentially.
The crags.
You head to the mighty crags, and to be honest, you kind of see him. He's not hard to find, really. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, he ain't. But he will, of course, spot him out and make his way over. Of course. What is he doing, first of all?
You'll hear he seems to be out by the waves, letting out those big thunderous howls that he does. The big mighty, the mighty singing. You know what I mean?
Yep.
If he's summoning the god of the earth himself. But for another Galliard seeing that, you're like, my god. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's just like senpai. But still, he'll make his way up, and assuming probably is he like stood on the edge of a cliff? Is he just kind of in the middle? Is it?
Yeah. Stood on the edge of cliff, the arms outstretched and the voice like, whoa. You
So
know what I mean? Rushes out.
I have to approach from behind. So he will. Not hiding his footsteps, of course, because wanting to be heard. But he will wait until he is finished, and however long it takes, he will just stand there in polite distance and wait.
And eventually the Alpha will turn around after letting out a big crescendo as the, big powerful voice, and he'll turn. Just watches you as I imagine you flop down probably onto your belly, I imagine, because that's a fucking so many ranks above you.
Yep, as soon as even his head begins to turn, the potential of his peripheral vision to see McDuncan, he's already on the ground.
Looks down. Now, who the hell are you?
Good evening, Riot. I am Alistair McDuncan, Fianna Galliard, known to the nation's Heart of Fury. Born on
You're the
July.
one that told the tale about. You're the one who told the tale about Alice, from what I heard.
Riot, that would be me.
That was a good job.
Huh. Thank you very much, Riot.
Got a bit of spunk about you.
There's just a slight smile on his face, not showing any teeth, just a smile. It's like, hey, sweet.
Although you gotta work on your lyrical ability, but you're still young, so I'll come in time.
Of course, Riot. It is something I do plan on practicing around here.
Well, good. This is Get a Fenris boy. I'll learn to enunciate. Now I respect you and your stags. But you're with the wolves now, you get me?
Of course, Riot.
I expect nothing less from a tribe that boasts so great. The fight.
And of course, Riot, you will receive nothing less.
Well, good. That's what I like to goddamn hear. Now, what the fuck do you want?
Now, Riot, perhaps I thought you might be able to assist me with something. I am currently looking into a few little things that only maybe you could answer, Raya. I have made a promise to help find some lost comrades that have fallen, that didn't make it all the way to the other side of sorts, and to make my way in such things. I need to find somebody known as Torvi Sigurdsson.
Torvi Sigurdsson. I didn't think there was any Sigurdssons left alive.
Don't go shake his head. That's.
He gestured, to sit down on one of the stones.
I mean, he didn't even get off the floor.
He just gestured, get up, boy.
And he'll go and sit down on one of the stones.
McDuncan shivers like a snail, to the floor.
McDuncan just slides like a snake across the ground, doesn't even stand up, slides up the stone.
Perfectly slithers. Perfect 90-degree angle. Anyway. Yes, he'll turn. Tell me, boy. You're Fianna. Where you from?
I am from Sept of the Twin Monoliths, originally, Raya.
Where's that?
If
I remember correctly, that is in Scotland, right?
Hey, it's on the border of Scotland and England. It's a bit down south. I'm originally from Aberdeen.
But just a nod, okay, you know what I mean?
But of course, right, it's a bit of a mess around there. So the nearest Sept that's
I imagine it is.
It's just it's not like, yep, here it is.
Was it a primary Fianna sept, if I remember correctly from what I heard the stories of?
That it is, right?
Nods. How many Get a Fenris did you have?
That stayed on the sept, I know of 2 or 3 off the top of my head.
You'd be surprised how much claim we have over there. If you look at the histories, you
see. To be honest, right, I don't think I would.
We fought your tribe, and I will give them credit. They fought well. And they pushed us back. In the case of Ireland, we settled down, and in some cases with Scotland, but there was a whole nother story there that, well, as a Galliard, you need to learn all on your lonesome. I won't spoil it for you.
There's the hint of a smile, which is like, yay. Sweet. But he just nods.
But the thing you need to learn, Alistair, particularly when you go asking questions about comrades and fallen, the Sigurdssons, folds his arms, and I mean, when he folds his arm, they're covered in scars. You see scars on his neck, on his shoulders. This man looks like he's been through a fucking proverbial meat grinder. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But he looks mid-50s, but I mean, fuck, he's far more well-built than you. Well, you know what I mean? You're like, oh.
Yep.
And leans back. The Sigurdssons were an old family. Very old family. We're talking like the Trimbinsons and the Ulrichsons, but they can trace some of the lines back to the early foundations. That was their claim from their galleons. Mighty warriors, but also mighty bringers of song and fury. They used to say when a Sigurdsson looked into your eyes, you could feel the heart of Fenrir biting at your chest. You know?
Mm.
A Sigurdsson's speech one day, before he died, as he was bleeding out in front of his enemies, he told them, it gladdens him to know that Fenrir prepares a mighty feast in his hall, that he shall be drinking from ale of curved horns. The hero returns, and the fury of the vengeance of his brothers and sisters will come upon you all. Do you know what happened to that group that killed him?
I don't try.
They were put to the sword. All of them. And I emphasize, Alistair, all of them.
Hmm.
Because to be a Sigurdsson is to take every bit of rage you got in your body, every bit of that, beats the chest and makes a boom. You know what I mean? Because
Hmm.
I mean, what you'll notice is you're not in the Umbra, but when even the slight tap, you feel like the thunder is about to rattle. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
To be a Sigurdsson, to be a Fenrir, Alistair, even to be a Fianna, to be a Guru, it's in the chest, in the heart, it's in your soul. We are born to die and live to be remembered. No one knows more than that than Clan Sigurdsson.
Hmm.
Now, they reigned predominantly. They came from Fafnir's brood. They came from Ithroat. A joint sept of ours. Very old sept. From the very foundations of the Viking Age. Legendary Galliard, by the way.
Hmm.
And a lot of the Orpian crowd fell down, as what happens over there. There was the Hellhole, there was many things. Many of them died in the fighting. The ones that came over here, long time ago, when I was still young, there was Sigurdssons in Chicago. There was Sigurdssons there. They just fell across like great waves. Because in the end, Alistair, you gotta keep this in mind. Those whose fire burns so bright and so furiously, they do wash away when the tide comes. In the end, all you're gonna have is your dignity right at the end, facing a spiral claw, whatever machination of the worm that's coming to finish you. And that's all you'll have. What you choose is your dignity of your end.
And he nods. Hmm. Aye, right. But from what I've heard, Raya, there are some potentially recent Sigurdssons. Some from the north are around here.
The North.
Aye.
I imagine there would be kin of them left.
Kin. Raya.
Well, there's been no guru, we would know.
Aye. Kin.
But the question is, If they're in the north, now this is just me speculating. What would they have to do to secure themselves?
Hmm. It's a family in the north with no Garou. Only it's a, that theoretically, right? Only kin. It wouldn't
Only
last.
just a name.
Just a name.
No. Tell me, Alistair.
Hmm.
Let's sit down. Look at you quite honestly. You've got big, thick, hard eyes. You're Fianna.
Aye.
Have you ever... When a tribe falls down, when a Guru family falls down, do you take the kin as your own and raise them? So the blood may continue.
He kind of thinks for a second. I have heard of such things, right? Personally, I don't 100% know. Wasn't born in the nation, you see. But I have heard of such things.
It is customary, I have seen it among your people, after a great war. Things are given, things are taken, things are sent back into balance. We are a nation that fights each other every day. Find the war. Maybe you'll find the people. He stands up and pats you on the shoulders. He's walking off.
Hmm. Mm-mm-mm. And he'll stand up as the Briar's walking off and turn to look at him. One last thing, Raya, if you don't mind.
Turns. Yeah.
There may not have been many Sigurdssons around here, but I've heard of a kerfuffle that happened a while ago.
And what you know about it?
Something had happened with a frenzy. And
Aye. But that's not my tale to tell, boy. I could tell you. That's not my tale to tell. I know what happened, of course. I know blood was spilt over a dispute. But that's not my tale to tell.
no, Raya.
Go to the one that speaks of the wisdom of Valkyries and you'll find your answers, maybe. That's the only advice I can give you, boy. Be prepared to not bring judgment. Bring hope, son. Pats his shoulders. He's walking off again.
Thank you, Raya. And he'll wait till he's disappeared.
Damn, he just idly wanders along the crags.
And yep, you know what? Like it depends how much, how long.
I can go for another 15 minutes.
All right, for 15 minutes, McD will jump cut himself, teleport, evaporate into thin air.
Poof.
And he will search for the den mother then. Because hey, there's a hint
You
there.
will find the den. You will find the den mother at where is she? Yeah, you actually find her near her cabin. She's actually what you'll see is She is applying various skulls into the territory surrounding her cabin along the woods.
Right, and as always, McDuncan will approach if he can within eyesight.
Yeah, she can see you. You see some of the cubs idly probably work. They're probably given a task essentially. You
Oh yeah,
imagine,
of
you know
course.
what I mean?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
You see Alien and the other one, Frankie, wandering in and out, and yeah, you'll see Lena. She'll look up, as she's after hammering it.
It's, yeah, he'll make there's a smile and he'll make his way towards her after she's acknowledged his presence. And of course he will show throat.
Hello, Alistair. Yuff.
Good evening, Raya. I hope you're well today.
Managing. They're setting the young ones to work as always.
I'd wonder if I could spare a minute of your time.
Just nod, seems quite amiable. Of course, little Anrai. What do you need?
So, they will actually what try and walk away a little bit, say
They
out of
should,
earshot of the
should
cubs.
walk should walk beside him.
So, Raya, I have fallen upon a piece of intrigue. As such, I
Just
made.
look over.
Oh, I never think that me would be a Machiavellian schemer. No, I detective. Hey, you call me Sherlock McDuncan. That'll do. But anyway, I have made a promise, and it becomes a challenge as such to fulfill this promise. It seems that it's not that easy. Of course, they never are they? The thing I need is some information. Now, the hint I have been given, or the hint, the first stepping stone, that I need to find a one Torvi Sigurdsson.
Just look over. And where did you hear that name?
Hmm, that name nobody seems to really know of. I even asked Leaf. He's got very little record of it.
Sigurdsson.
Hey,
Smile softly.
and I was wondering if somebody like yourself might know of it, Raya.
I was married to one.
Oh, just kind of nods. Like,
Ragnar.
oh,
Ragnar Sigurdsson. And Sept of Fafnir's brood. Before I changed.
oh. There's a hint of a smile, like oh, on his face, just like yeah, she was married to one. Oh, and hopefully you might be the person I'm looking for, Raya.
Why is that?
Oh, you might have some at least little inkling on something that'll help me.
Well, considering Ragnar has been dead a good number of years now, his family, just lick her lips, they unfortunately died out.
And if it's all right to ask, Raya, if you don't mind me asking how they all died out.
They burned too bright, Alistair,
Hmm, burn too bright.
and, and people took many drastic actions.
He nods.
Things were said, things were done, which I will not agree with and forever not agree with. However, that was many, many years ago.
Hmm.
And I was still but a young Cleat turning foster. There was nothing I could do to stop it.
Of course, Raya. And now that speaking of the Garu, Raya, do you know of anything about what happened to the kin?
Frown. Not really. And you can roll perception empathy. That mama's gonna lie.
I'm gonna fucking try. Whether or not I'll succeed is a different question, but I'm gonna fucking try.
I will just roll her stuff without her purebred, because otherwise this will just be silly.
Yes, because I'm not good at this. Oh, for fuck's sake. Oh.
Now you had a chance. I'm not quite sure. There was many. It was a very trying time. You have to understand. There
Oh,
was a lot of.
of course, Raya. No, but there was a chance, Raya. In fact, somebody might know something. But
I don't know 100. I will say, I don't know 100%. But if my histories and my tribe is to be clear, the kin were, I imagine, taken care of, or they went off with their own ways, or they've simply vanished until a new guru will come.
hey, that makes a lot of sense, Raya.
Now, frown. Why are you looking into the Sigurdssons?
Well, of course, Raya. I did think you would ask. Uh, I have made a promise of such that I fully intend on fulfilling. You see, it is a difficult one to explain, but I promised to somebody help restore some fallen comrades so that they can pass on. Finally,
It's an
gain peace.
admirable goal.
The peace they actually deserved.
Yeah. Yes, they did.
Kind of raises an eyebrow a second. They who?
Just, the Sigurdssons.
Hey,
They did not deserve to be. They did not deserve to be burned out like they were.
no. But such is the way of things. But these comrades that I am searching for, I'm not entirely sure are all Sigurdssons. Potentially. But I have no names. The only thing I have is a name of one who might know their location, or their story, or something that'll help me onto the next stepping stone. It says Torvi Sigurdsson.
Torvi Sigurdsson. She frowns. Of all the Sigurdssons, I've not heard of one called Torvi.
Hey.
I know of
Upon
one Torvi, but spread our hands.
upon my
I've
research,
known her. I've known her since she was a girl.
hmm, upon my research, Raya, it seems that I am more than likely looking for a kin rather than a Garu.
That'll make that much harder.
Hey, you see my point? It's kind of like the smile of like, yeah, you see, this is fucking difficult already.
And she'll look around. You see the air of suspicious about her. She's watching people. You know what I mean? It's that kind of ragabash. You know what I mean? Even McDuncan gets that vibe. You know what I mean?
But uh, anyway, Raya, unfortunately,
Just smile. And she'll put her hand on yours, give you like a squeeze. Perhaps when you have a bit more concrete information, we shall talk a bit more. If you want to hear tales, at least.
well, I would be a fool to ever refuse such an offer, Raya.
Just smile. They were bright people. full of life, from what I remember of them. At least my husband was.
There's a smile on his face. I
Just
don't
nod.
doubt it for a second, Raya.
Well, I trust I should. I have to get back to my children.
Of course, don't let me waste any more of your time. I thank you so much.
And she moves the hand away, oh so delicately. And MacDuncan, you feel like that's paper in your hand.
And he's just like, yep, thank you so much. Thank you. Smile.
And she'll walk idly back, to get very proud, Valkyric posture about her, you know what I mean? Do you look down at the paper?
You know what? Is it folded? Like, can
Yep.
he feel it? Can he feel it? He just, doesn't even look at it because, hey, there might be eyes. He just folds it into his palm, smiles, and he would just walk back to his room in the public housing and read it there.
Yeah, you can tell Agnes is obviously off doing some fucking business. You know what I mean? She's off being the fucking Fianna madwoman that she is.
And he just
Um,
all
you
natural.
will see.
Go.
Yeah, you will see. Too many eyes watching you. Find someone you can trust, and then we'll talk privately. But for now, too many eyes.
All right. And with that, would you like to end the scene there?
Yeah.
And with that, this scene come to an end.